With almost 10 years between adventures, we returned to the magical world of Zootopia, where, for the most part, animals get along in harmony. Yes, we are in Season 3 of Oscar Rewind, and today I am looking at Walt Disney Pictures' Zootopia. Written by Jared Bush and Phil Johnston from a story by the film's co-directors Byron Howard and Rich Moore, along with Jim Rearson, Josie Trinidad, and Ginnifer Lee, the film released in March of 2016. What's up, everybody? Cinephile Mike here, and it is a new episode of Oscar Rewind, where I look back at the films of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any of these throwbacks. Today, we start a new chapter. It is Chapter 3, Early Visions. This chapter focuses on earlier work from the other Oscar-nominated directors and those who directed Oscar-nominated flicks. And today, we're beginning with Byron Howard, who co-directed both Zootopia films. If you've never seen Zootopia, here is your quick, spoiler-free setup. In a world populated entirely by animals, Judy Hopps, voiced by Ginnifer Goodwin, has spent her entire life of wants to be a police officer. The problem: she's a rabbit, and no rabbit has ever made it onto the police force. But, despite the odds, she graduates police academy and heads from the country to the big city of Zootopia, the big metropolis, convinced she can make the difference. But reality has other plans. She very quickly gets relegated to being a meter maid, since her boss, Chief Bogo, voiced by Idris Elba, doubts her abilities at every turn, but she goes along and eventually is given a small window of time to look into a missing persons case that other people believe is nothing will come from. Now, to solve it, she will have to team up with Nick Wilde, voiced by Jason Bateman, a fast-talking fox and con artist who would rather avoid the police than help them. Now, as the two follow a trail of clues across the many districts of Zootopia, they uncover a mystery far bigger than either of them expected. One that could threaten that delicate balance between the predators and the prey, messing up that harmony. Look, I have to say, this film really subverts your expectations in all the best ways. Now, on the surface, it looks like cute animated movies about animals talking, solving a mystery, classic Disney, but underneath that is a remarkably smart screenplay that works just as well for adults as it does for kids. I mean, it manages that difficult balancing act where the humor lands for both audiences. There's jokes that the younger viewers will love, with plenty of visual gags, and enough clever observational humor that adults will find themselves laughing just as often without ever feeling like the movie is trying too hard or being too edgy. And I have to say, the casting is pitch perfect. Ginnifer Goodwin and Jason Bateman make for an endlessly entertaining pairing as Judy and Nick. Their back and forth feels natural from the moment they meet, and the chemistry is undeniable. Chances are, much of this film, the recording was probably done separately, very common with animation nowadays, which really makes the rapport even that much more impressive, speaking to the strength of both performances and the direction. And not just them, all of them. If I were to go into the amazing voice cast, I could probably sit here for another 10, 20 minutes, and that's not all we're here for. And speaking of direction, Byron Howard and Rich Moore, they really understood the assignment. I mean, look, this could have been a very laughable premise, just, another Animal City movie, but instead they, work to craft that story that tackles ideas like bullying, stereotyping, prejudice, and the treatment of outsiders in a way that's accessible to younger viewers while giving the adults plenty to think about. I mean, there's moments where you genuinely forget that you're watching a children's film sometimes because the themes are handled with such confidence and maturity. And yet then they'll throw in that zig or that joke to get you laughing. And visually, I have to say, the movie, it's stunning. The city of Zootopia feels fully realized. Each district has its own personality and style, whether you're in the tiny little rodent neighborhood, the frozen tundras, the bustling city streets. I mean, this world just feels alive. And then there's moments like the Gazelles concert. I mean, not only Shakira, wonderful, I mean, that sequence is so energetic and vibrant, I almost wish Disney had gone ahead and made like an entire 3D animated movie around her concert performance. You never know. There's been 2 of these films. Let's go. This is a movie that entertains first, but then quietly leaves you with far more to think about than you expected. Now, let's talk about the box office and the awards. After the film's run, this film made $341,268,248 domestically. And twice that internationally, $684,253,441 internationally. That's a worldwide take. First time this season on Rewind, we're talking about a film that crossed that $1 billion threshold. $1,025,521,689. Fun fact, it was the most successful original film at the box office worldwide that year. It was number 4, but that was behind Captain America Civil War, franchise, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, franchise, Finding Dory, franchise, and with The Jungle Book nipping at its heels at number 5, let's be honest, Disney owned 2016 in theaters. Critically, the film is high, very high sitting, 98% tomato meter from 297 critic reviews, 92% on the popcorn meter from over 100,000 audience reviews. Award season-wise, Zootopia ended its season with the Oscar for Best Animated Film, and could have been the upset this year, but we all know no one was touching those demon hunters. With over 100 other nods and wins, some highlights include Best Animated Film wins at the Golden Globes, the Critics' Choice Awards, 2 BAFTA Children's Awards for Best Feature Film and the Kids' Vote for Feature Film, along with a Best Animated Film nomination. It won 6 out of 11 Annie Awards for Best Animated Feature, Directing, Character Design, Storyboarding, Voice Acting, and Writing. And one last worth mentioning is the Outstanding Producer of Animated Films win by the Producers Guild of America. I truly was surprised by how much I loved this film when I saw it, and even felt that the sequel was worthy. But where the sequel was 4 stars, if you were with me in award season last year, the original, easy, 5. 5 stars. My only issue, I wanted more, and I got it 9 years later. If you're craving a rewatch, Zootopia is currently streaming on Disney+. And that's it for episode 19 of season 3 of Oscar Rewind, and it's just the beginning of chapter 3. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments. Do you prefer Zootopia 1 or 2? Please follow me on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd, and check out my website, cinephilemike.com, for more exclusive cinematic content, festival coverage, and spoiler-free reviews. I will see you all for the next Rewind, but until then, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.